Hey y'all, welcome to video number 3 for Vibe Coding Phoenix. If you have not joined the Facebook group, what are you waiting for? If you haven't hit subscribe or like on this video, come on, man, I'm working so hard on this. Okay, so today I am going to talk about launching your apps, launching your apps with imperfections. And I'm going to talk about this because this is really hard for me is to launch anything and realize later on that either there's an imperfection there, a bug there, or whatever. Okay. So let's slow down. Let's talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna get into it. So first things first, why does it feel so embarrassing? I don't know. I grew up in a household where a B wasn't good enough, right? Like we can talk about the childhood stuff, but that's the truth, right? It always had to be A's, and if it was an A minus, well, why isn't it an A plus? Well, if it's an A plus, we're in the top two. Like the shit never ends. But for me, when I release a course or an app, it feels like I'm putting myself out there. Does that make sense? It's an extension of it's an extension of me that people can critique, say it fucking sucks, say it's shitty, leave me bad reviews, or oh no, moon sucks, right? You know, I'm not telling you to release an app that where the main functionality is just broken. Like that's dumb. Okay. Uh with my app, I wanted okay, let me slow down. Too many thoughts at once. The GPP rescue audit, I wanted it to have more than the United States in there as a country where you can pick a GBP from. Okay. Well, I didn't, and I was coding to the last minute, right? This functionality was added in the last week, the last few days. I'm testing like a mad woman. I've tested India, Pakistan, all these other countries. What I didn't realize is that when I opened it up to international, it would regress on what I had already coded for the US. So, international, I got to code some of the countries. It's working fine. Okay. But a couple days after launch, I realized that when I was auditing a business in San Diego for the top 3 competitors, it would list competitors or mix them in from like New York when it should be businesses from San Diego. And I was like, oh my God, I want to die. How many people have noticed this, right? Like, that's a pretty major bug. I did not realize that opening up to other countries was going to somehow mess up the functionality I had programmed for just the United States. Now, if I'm recalling correctly, a couple of weeks after this trauma right now, it's what happened was when I opened it up to other countries, now I have to specify, I think, latitude and longitude, or however you say it. And before that, I wasn't having to define longitude and latitude or whatever. So, oopsies. What I didn't realize is expanding functionality that wouldn't even touch something actually really did touch it. Okay. And after I fixed the bug, I realized somebody had messaged me about this bug, which felt embarrassing, but I thanked them for it. I've given them extra credits for it, and hopefully they remain patient, right? So that sucked. It took me a couple days, only a couple days because I want to be careful pushing out code on a live app, and I want to make sure that it doesn't mess anything up, especially when adding this functionality to other countries messed up something else that it shouldn't have. So I fixed that, but along the way, Claude Code was hallucinating. In a really bad way. It was just theorizing why, like, it might possibly be doing this, and it was bullshitting. And after hour two, I was like, shut the hell up. This code happened between these two dates because look at my last two audits. And apparently, I had done an audit, but I must have been really tired because the audit that listed New York competitors instead of San Diego, it was right there, but I didn't pick up on it. That's what happens with a very tired brain. So I'm like, look, July 5th or 6th, whatever, it's fine. But July 7th, something went wrong. And let's look at what changes we made, which I told it, I suspected it's the change. It doesn't make sense, but it's a change regarding opening it up to other countries, right? Like, I don't know what's causing it necessarily, but these are the changes we made. So go fucking search what we uploaded or whatever we pushed to GitHub and what the changes were, and let's narrow this down. And then I had Claude Code, and I called Claude Code CC for short. I had it do tests. I told it to call the way my app calls the data, the endpoints. I had it do tests the same way for San Diego businesses. And then I told it, because its theory was like we need to use longitude and latitude. And then I said, okay, then do these tests with that. Like, and it did it. And it did turn out to be this particular bug. So then I was like, okay, now that you've proven to me this is the issue, now we're gonna go ahead and touch the code. Because I didn't trust it. All the shit it was telling me was wrong, and what I narrowed it down to or help it narrow it down to was the issue. So don't be afraid to push back with Claude Code. Don't be afraid, especially if it's hallucinating. Make sure you're starting new sessions with proper context. And it's annoying how fast these sessions start hallucinating. But that was bug number one that really sucks. That I wish I had not launched with. But hey, you know what? Shit is gonna happen. It just is. I've hopefully I'm in the good graces by giving people extra credits. Another issue that slipped by me, and I did not know why it was happening at the moment because I thought I had handled this case, but I had not. I had handled another similar case. This particular case was I was getting data from the vendor, okay, but it was returning null. And the null in this case wasn't like a null, it meant zero. So if a business had zero reviews, to target the business that's being audited against competitors, if this one had a zero, it was returning null. And null was fucking things up for my app. And I remember getting CC nailed this one, but I remember being cranky and being like, no, I know we handled a null situation before. And so when I went through the code, it said I had handled the null situation for the competitors, not the target itself, which made total sense, right? I was like, so we fixed that. That took another, not, I mean, that in itself took a day or two, but there were other things I was refining because then I'm like, okay, this part of the report is correct, but it needs to like give more data to the other person, right? So it took me a few days to push that change. So why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this to tell you that yes, pushing out an app is a risk. Okay. You do have to do your due diligence. I will tell you to do your best with security stuff, API leaks. You cannot like just have things like hyper focus on that. But also, I'm trying to tell you that bugs are gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. The hardest thing for the world for me is feeling embarrassed And a part of me was very panicked. I put in 10-hour days debugging crap, maybe even 12, several days, last 2 weeks. They've been intense. They've been intense. But I've reached out to people. I've done my best to communicate with them. I created a Rank Phoenix group for paid customers only so I can keep giving them updates. I've given them extra credits. And the reason for me sharing this is saying, hey, you know what? Maybe your bugs are going to be not as intense as mine, but we're going to learn. And I think what I've learned is even when I think something cannot break or should not break because of some like the changes I made or elsewhere, I still need to test very thoroughly and with fresh eyes. Because I did test, but I was not paying attention to a certain part of the report and it slipped by me. But the reason I'm telling you this stuff is just so you know that it's part of the game. You're gonna do shit. You're human, even though you have AI help. AI will only do so much for you. You do have to steer it in the right direction. But bugs can happen and they can happen to anybody, right? And that's why I have the Founder 100 deal in place so that, if they find something funky, they'll reach out to me and they're okay with it because they are getting a deal at the end of the day. Anyways, if you haven't hit like, please hit like. If you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe so you see more of this. And God bless you for wanting more of this. Yeah, join the White Coding Phoenix group, Facebook group if you haven't. If you're curious, if you do SEO and you want to check out my tool, I will drop the link below so you can check it out and maybe you'll be joined. All right, see you next time.